Hey guys, welcome to the channel, welcome to another video. It's that time of the weekend, it's Premier League predictions time. Another round of exciting and intriguing Premier League encounters are almost upon us. And of course, this is the video where I go through each and every single game, talk about them, analyse them, and of course try to predict the outcomes. Before we get into all of that though, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you are new. Both things are always and forever be greatly appreciated. Also, get involved in that comment section. Let me know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it. That'll make for great and interesting reading on this video. Of course, mainly predictions. This is a Premier League predictions video after all, people. So where would it be without predictions? Absolutely nowhere. So please do get involved. Let me know how you think each and every single game will go this weekend. Would love to hear from you all. I'm sure it'll make for great and interesting reading. So please do use and abuse that comment section, people, and talk to me on each and every single Premier League encounter this weekend. Right, now that that's out of the way and done with, let's kick things off, shall we, with our opening game of the weekend. The one that gets the ball rolling, kicks things off. We are at St James's Park for Newcastle against Arsenal. And I've gone with a 3-1 win to the Gunners. My thought process behind this is that Arsenal will take a lot of confidence and a lot of positives from the 2-2 draw with Liverpool last week. I know they have a couple of injuries that are quite big, but they still gave Liverpool a really good battle and a really good game. And, you know, maybe on another day they could have held out for the win. Maybe they could have gone on to win by more. But in the end, the points were shared. And they're coming against a Newcastle side who have been a bit awkward this season. They've had a couple of okay and really good to really good performances, and then they have really struggled to score goals this season. It's been unlike Newcastle completely for the most part of this campaign. They lost 2-1 to Chelsea last week. They are really struggling in the final third, and they're making too many defensive errors at the other end of things. So it's going to be a really, I imagine it's going to be a really awkward game. We know that Newcastle tend to turn up in the big encounters, so it wouldn't surprise me if on a 12:30 kickoff at home at St James's Park, Newcastle managed to somehow get something from this game. It wouldn't be a major surprise to me. But I think Arsenal just have too much about them. I think they just have too much about them in the final third to take their chances, too much about them in the midfield to control it, and too much defensively to somewhat neutralise Newcastle for the most part in stopping their attacks. That's why I've gone with 3-1. That's why I've gone with an Arsenal win, and that's why I've gone for Arsenal to get back to winning ways in the top flight division. Next up, Bournemouth taking on Manchester City, and I've gone with a 2-1 win to Pep Guardiola's side. Now, this, I believe, is going to be a bit more difficult to call than what most people may think. But Bournemouth are a really good side. Bournemouth play some really good football, and I think the only thing that lets Bournemouth down on occasions like this is not taking their chances when it matters most. We saw it earlier on this season when they faced off against Chelsea, of course. They played a really good game. They just couldn't finish their chances, and they ended up losing that game. They, of course, beat Arsenal a couple of weeks ago by 2-0. Okay, Arsenal were down to 10 men, but even with 11 men, Bournemouth still held their own. This game, I think, is going to be a little bit more of the same. I just think that with City's extra firepower up front, Erling Haaland in particular, I just think City will get across that line. That's not to say Bournemouth will give them a good run for their money. That's not to say Bournemouth won't give them a good game, because I believe that they genuinely will. I just think that the extra firepower up front for Manchester City will be the difference maker. And that is why I have gone with a 2-1 win to Manchester City. Otherwise, it's going to be a very predictable game from there. City hold the lion's share of possession. Bournemouth try and counter-attack, and they've got the players to do that. It's going to be a very interesting game, but ultimately one that may feel a little bit predictable in terms of outcome. Next up, Ipswich Town against Leicester City. And I have gone with a 2-1 win to Leicester. Now, I was toying with the idea of Ipswich getting a win here, getting on winning terms, getting some more points on the board, but I feel like with the way that Leicester have been playing in recent weeks, the Forest result aside, this has got a Leicester win written all over it to me. That's not to say Ipswich can't get anything out of the game. Nothing's ever a foregone conclusion. Yada yada yada. But I just feel like Leicester again may have a bit more in the tank up front. They may have a bit more in midfield. They may have a bit more experience, a bit more know-how than what Ipswich do, and that's what may tip the scales in Leicester's favour just that little bit more. So I've gone with a Leicester win, but this is a huge relegation encounter. This is a huge battle down there. And one that I feel Jamie Vardy may have a say in. So, yes, that would be my personal pick. Jamie Vardy to have a say in this game and for Leicester to take all 3 points. Moving on, Liverpool at home at Anfield taking on Brighton, and I've gone with a 2-1 win to Liverpool. Now, my hope as a Liverpool fan is that we see the Brighton side that turns up here, that is the same one that played against Chelsea with that ridiculous high line that Chelsea exploited time and time again. Because if that is to be the case, then the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold and Mo Salah, our creative outlets in this team, are going to have a field day setting up the likes of Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez. So I'm praying we get that Brighton team. I'm also praying we get the Brighton team that somewhat collapsed last weekend against Wolves in very chaotic and very carnage-like style, with obviously leading by 2-0 with 2 minutes of normal time to play, only to completely collapse and end up drawing that game 2-2. In all seriousness though, Brighton have had a fantastic start to the season. It's been a brilliant start to the season under the new manager Fabian Herzula. They played really, really well as of right now. And full credit to Brighton for continuing their incredible rise in the Premier League. I'm just hoping that that incredible rise is put to a slight stop, a pause, if you like, on Saturday when these two teams meet. I'm really hoping and praying that Liverpool get back to winning ways following their draw against Arsenal last week. But we know this is a very difficult encounter. This is going to be a very intriguing football game in which Brighton are going to look to try and get the ball down and play. And Liverpool, if they're going to adapt how we know that Arne Slot likes to adapt this season to different opponents, they may be happy enough to let Brighton have the ball and then try and get their pressing game on point to where they can try and take the ball off of the Seagulls in very dangerous areas that can be transitioned from defence to attack very, very quickly. Like I say, if Brighton play a high line, it could be advantage Liverpool. If they drop back into a somewhat mid to low block, that could be difficult for Liverpool to break down. It could invite Liverpool forward, and it could mean that if Brighton are quick enough and decisive enough with the ball at their feet, they could beat the press of Liverpool. I still think 2-1 to Liverpool is the right result, especially with them being at home. So I am going to give them the home advantage here. But for Brighton to take something off of the Reds, I don't think it would be out the realms of possibility. But fingers crossed, that does not happen. 2-1 Liverpool is my scoreline prediction there. Next on, we move to the City Ground in Nottingham, where Nottingham Forest will be taking on West Ham United. And I have gone with a 3-1 win to Nottingham Forest. Now, of course, West Ham picked up a huge win last weekend against Manchester United in somewhat controversial circumstances, given the penalty that, in my opinion, should have never been given. But it was, and that's a massive 3 points to West Ham. A massive 3 points and a bit of respite for the new manager, Julian Lopetegui. They come up against a very much informed Nottingham Forest side, flying high off of a couple of good wins in their past couple of games. They beat Crystal Palace, they beat Leicester City, their fierce rivals, and now they're coming up against a West Ham side who aren't playing particularly well, making defensive errors, not building up play in the best possible way, and that is why I see Forest, with the home crowd behind them, with the way that they're playing, with arguably one of the most informed strikers in the Premier League right now in Chris Wood, firing on all cylinders. I see them winning this game. I really, really do, and I think it's going to be a big win for Nottingham Forest, and that is why I have gone for the 3-1. There we go. There we have it, and I think it's never always a foregone conclusion with Forest, because you never really know if they're going to turn up or not. You never know if they're going to go on a bit of a mad run and then turn up in this game, think they've already won it and slip on a banana skin. But I think that with the way that Nuno Espirito Santo's side has set up this season, defensively looking solid, attacking-wise looking threatening, I think Forest will get the job done here and get the 3 points. So we move. Saturday's evening encounter. I believe it's Saturday's evening encounter. Oh, no. I don't think so. I think this might be just Saturday's. Saturday's game at St Mary's sees Southampton take on Everton, with my prediction being a 2-1 win to the Toffees. It's hard to really see where Southampton will pick up their first win of the season, in all honesty. They continuously let goal leads slip. They continuously look good at certain points and then falter away. They didn't suffer the kind of humiliating defeat that I thought they would against Manchester City last week. They lost only by a single goal to nil, so they might take some confidence and some positives from that game. But they come up against a fellow relegation candidate in Everton that may be looking to really put some distance between themselves and the drop zone with a win here. And it's a win that I think away from home they will probably get. Now, this is, again, isn't out of the realms of possibility for Southampton to get something here. This is Everton we're talking about, after all, people. And Everton, as we know, have a tendency that when they are meant to be on the front foot, when they are meant to be the favourites, they sometimes let that pressure get to them and they let it slip away. Southampton could get something from this game. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that that could potentially happen. But I just think, again, it's going to be the difference of the two attacks. And especially if Southampton continue to play out from the back, I think Everton could really capitalise. And I think with the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Dwight McNeil and so on and so forth, they could seriously get a couple of goals here that may just put this game to bed. I'm going with Everton. But again, not entirely confident. Southampton could get something. Could even get more than just something. But I'm going with Everton. I'm sticking with my original prediction of 2 goals to 1. Next up, Wolverhampton Wanderers take on Crystal Palace. And I've gone with a 1-1 draw. A 1-1 draw at Molineux. Wolves, absolutely incredible last week. Coming from 2 goals down, extremely late on to draw 2-2 with Brighton. Crystal Palace picking up their first win of the season against Tottenham in incredible circumstances at Selhurst Park. I just think the two will cancel each other out. I think Palace's level will drop again a little bit, considering the level of opposition, with all due respect to Wolves. Not many people were probably predicting Palace to get something from Spurs last week, and that may have obviously eased expectation a little bit maybe at Palace, which is why they're able to have that underdog mentality that helped them win that game. And against Wolves this week, maybe they are expected to maybe build upon that win and maybe make it back-to-back wins for the first time this season, which, again, wouldn't be completely out of realms of possibility. Wolves are still yet to win this season. Wolves have obviously had a very difficult start to the season under Gary O'Neill, as pressure is increasing on the shoulders of the Wanderers manager. I can see this being a draw and then cancelling each other out. If I had to stick my neck out on the line, I probably would lean more towards Palace. I think with the likes of Mateta and Eze as a prime example, I think they would probably have a bit more firepower in the final third to get the job done. I'm not saying Wolves don't. I'm just saying it probably outweighs them because Wolves can play some nice football at times, but often they are at fault themselves for not finishing off their chances. I'm just leaning more towards Palace in this one if I had to pick a side. But I think with the home advantage being in Wolves' favour, I think with a couple of unfortunate and unlucky results in recent weeks for the home side, I think eventually they will get something from this game. So I'm going 1-1, but I'm not entirely confident. And the more and more that I say this, the more and more I am slightly leaning towards Palace, but I'm going to stick with my original prediction of 1-1. Next up, moving on to Sunday's games and what a lineup we have. First and foremost, we have got Tottenham Hotspur taking on Aston Villa. A real battle between two sides that are going for Champions League football this season. And I've gone with 3-2 to Aston Villa now. Villa drew 1-1 with Bournemouth last week, a few days after coming off of that incredible win in the Champions League against Bologna. This week, Villa are taking on a Tottenham side who will need to bounce back from that poor defeat to Crystal Palace. In the past, Tottenham have been a bit of a thorn in the side of Aston Villa. I think there'll be goals in this one, and I don't know what it is, but I think if Villa can adapt and if Villa can play this game right, Villa will win this game. Villa will win this game. Tottenham will create bags of chances, but if Emi Martinez is on the form at one end and the Villa defence is tight and is compact to deny Spurs their usual attacking display, they can exploit Spurs on the counter-attack and they can get a few goals themselves. Obviously, with the amount of chances that Tottenham normally create, I wouldn't put it against them not to score in this one. But like I say, I think Villa will get the job done here. I think Unai Emery will adapt. I think Unai Emery will be smart enough to spot the weaknesses in the Tottenham team. I think he'll be smart enough to set up his defence properly. And then it's all about whether his players execute that plan on the pitch. Like I said before, Spurs have been a bit of a thorn in the side of Aston Villa. This could be a massive bounce back for Tottenham if they do win. It could be a massive boost of confidence for Aston Villa if they win. Obviously, with them occupying the top 4 spots, that could be huge as well. If that is the case, and they obviously win this game and they bounce back into them. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. This one should be really, really interesting and a really good game of football. So I'm looking forward to this one. I'm hoping there will be goals in it, which is why I have gone for the 3-2 scoreline. But again, not entirely confident. Not entirely confident by this one whatsoever. But I think if I had to give the edge to someone, it would be Aston Villa. So we shall see. Monday night, we are at Craven Cottage for a London derby of sorts between Fulham and Brentford. And I've gone with a 1-1 draw. Now, Fulham, of course, have started the season pretty well. Brentford have also been a bit hit and miss this season. Scoring plenty of goals, it seems, but not quite finding themselves defensively enough to see out those kinds of results. I've gone with a 1-1 draw here. I'm expecting a fast start from maybe Brentford. I'm expecting a fast start from both teams, really. I'm expecting a fast start, maybe a bit of a dull middle period, and then maybe it might spring to life towards the end again in this one. It's going to be an interesting game because both of these sides can be quite inconsistent at times, can be quite awkward to play against, and on their day they can be absolutely incredible to watch. We know that Fulham have the ability and the potential to obviously be really, really good on their day. They can put anyone, or they can give anyone a good run for their money or a really good game, and we know that Brentford can do the same. It's just whether or not those two teams will actually play out a really good Premier League game that goes a little bit under the radar because it may not be as a big shiny name like any member of the current top 6 or whatever. But at the same time, I think this one might be a decent game to maybe watch for your Monday night viewing. 1-1 is my outcome. again, this could be anything. This could go any which way with any kind of scoreline. I wouldn't put it past either of them not to win this game by a few goals. But yeah, I called it down the middle. I've gone 1-1. And, Brighton and Mbeumo to continue his good goal scoring form. They picked up a really good win last weekend, Brentford. They have been a bit hit and miss. So, yeah, I'm expecting an intriguing game, this one. Not really sure which way to call it, in all honesty. But, yeah, down the middle. And finally, in what I believe to be the biggest game of this round of fixtures, the main event of this upcoming weekend's round of Premier League football, we're at Old Trafford for Manchester United against Chelsea, and I firmly believe Old Trafford is going to be the loudest it has been in a long time. I firmly believe it's going to be rocking for the first time in a long time, because this week has been a really, really big week for Manchester United in terms of, obviously, Eric Ten Hag being sacked as the Manchester United manager. The news broke Monday morning of his sacking, and it seems that United are trying to move quickly for Ruben Amorim. Will he be confirmed as the new Manchester United manager before this game kicks off? I don't think he'll be in charge of this game unless things move very, very quickly in the next few hours. But it does seem like Amorim is United's guy to succeed the Dutchman. And, maybe because of that, he may be in attendance this weekend to see potentially his new team, if that is to be the case. They come up against a Chelsea side who are an informed Chelsea side. They are playing very, very well in recent games. They got back to winning ways last weekend with a 2-1 win over Newcastle. Cole Palmer is playing out of his skin right now. He's arguably the best player in the Premier League, purely based on form. But in saying that, they are playing away from home. This has all the makings of a bit of an upset on Man United's part, because if this was still an Eric Ten Hag Manchester United side, you would certainly be backing Chelsea this weekend. But I just think maybe the occasion, maybe the rise in atmosphere, maybe the hostile atmosphere that Man United fans may create for those Chelsea players. This is a bit of a rivalry game as well, let's not forget. It may just balance the scales a little bit, and I feel like they may cancel each other out. Let's not forget as well, Chelsea aren't exactly watertight defensively, and I feel like if United are decisive on the day and they turn up, and they are going to be awkward, they certainly could give Chelsea a really good game here. Ruud van Nistelrooy will seemingly take charge. There's going to be a point to prove by every single player in that Man United team to try and impress the new manager, the new interim manager, for however long he's going to remain in charge for, or potentially the new manager, however long that will be before that's decided. So there's a lot riding on this game for United, and there's also a lot riding on it for Chelsea. They need to keep their nerve. They need to obviously not be fazed by the atmosphere. But let's not forget, this is quite a young Chelsea side. And I feel like maybe the atmosphere may get to them a little bit. Maybe the occasion might get to them a little bit. And I feel like that's why I feel this game could result in the points being shared. That's why I feel like this one should be called down the middle. If I had to maybe pick a side, I probably would go with the informed Chelsea. But I feel like the equaliser will be the atmosphere. And I feel like that may give those United players some confidence to go forward. I feel like that may give those United players the ability and the drive to maybe get something from this game. Either way, I think we are in for a very intriguing game, especially if it's going to be anything like the 4-3 last season. That was pretty incredible, to say the least. 2-2 is my prediction for this one. And there you have it. Those are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, but most of all, of course, predictions of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of my predictions in this video? What are your own predictions? Give me your thoughts, give me your comments, give me your opinions, but most of all, give me your predictions on how you think each and every single game will go this weekend in England's top flight division. Talk to me on this, people. Use and abuse that comment section. Would love to hear from you all. I'm sure it'll make it for great and interesting reading. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way out if you enjoy the video. Subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening, and of course supporting the channel. Your continued or even brand new support is very much appreciated and very awesome, so thank you all so much. It means a great deal to me. I've been Fletch. This has been another Premier League predictions video, and I will see and speak with you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers guys, thanks everyone for watching. Take care, enjoy the rest of your day. Speak to you all again very, very soon.